My first guest was my wife. We had to cut that short. I'm going to adjust this camera just a little bit. Right, there we go. So I have Kris from Revolutionary Telehealth, okay, or Rev Health, here today, and we're going to talk about this new endeavor that's coming on board for. Would you say your target audience is
veterans, first responders, and their families?
There you go. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, but before we do that, let's go ahead and introduce the man. Okay, so how do you pronounce your last name?
Barriteau.
Barriteau. Okay, so Kris Barriteau is a Special Forces Lieutenant Colonel retired. He's a CEO of Rev Health, or Revolutionary Telehealth, a Green Beret and Navy SEAL owned telehealth company powered by veteran docs, nurses, pharmacists, focused on supporting our nation's veterans, first responders, and their families in comprehensive health care and mental health, headquartered here in Monument, Colorado. So that's the community that we're coming to talk about. So, Kris, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show.
Appreciate it.
We already talked offline a little bit, introduced ourselves, and we have a shared background. I mean, we're both from 10th Special Forces Group. I mean, I was originally in 5th Special Forces. Don't hold that against me.
No comment.
So anyway, let's start off with, okay, who are you, where are you from, and let's go from there.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Kris Barriteau. I'm the CEO of Revolutionary Telehealth. Like Dave mentioned, we're a Green Beret, Navy SEAL, and woman-owned telehealth company, kind of first of its kind. We're focused on our veterans, our first responders, their families, in their communities. So we're not a exclusive veteran first responder organization. We are open to everybody. But we are composed and comprised of multiple veterans from the elite special operations community, Army medical doctors. In fact, one of our MDs is an 18 Delta turned medical doctor from 3rd Group. Yeah. Still trying not to hold that against
From what
him.
group?
3rd Group.
Oh, from 3rd Group.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to hold it against him.
Yeah. It's an interesting dynamic. And incorporating the SEAL community and the SF community is also an interesting dynamic, right, as you can imagine. But yeah, so we hope to go live next week. And, we kind of, we're bringing to the table our particular elite medicine, our elite focus, our community, our understanding, because we do understand the community. We are the community. So that's our project here that we're working on. I have a phenomenal team of civilian professionals in the marketing and finance spaces, the tech space, all the way up to our substantial medical team of veteran medical providers. Right. We have a mental health licensed clinical social worker, Joanna, who's managing our mental health program, which is a significant endeavor that we're putting forth. Obviously, there's a huge demand for that in the community. Mm-hmm. So that's a primary focus of ours. But yeah, so I'm from Massachusetts originally.
Okay.
Joined the Army at 18, enlisted as a military police officer while I was going to school in the Guard. Got my commission, joined SF, went to selection in 03, 04, and then 10th Group ever since, for the most part.
Right on. Yeah, super cool. So, where did you do your company command time?
110, and I was actually a Sajuda commander in Afghanistan for that time.
Right on.
So for an international contingent of Slovakian, Hungarian, Romanian, and Estonian in our teams.
Gotcha.
So it was quite an experience.
Right on. Very cool. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit more military service stuff. So what made you join the military at 18?
Well, I don't tell anybody. Between you and me, I always wanted to be a Navy SEAL. Don't tell my teammates. But so it didn't work out that way. Just kind of ended up. Actually, the short of it is I was going to UMass Amherst, and I wanted to be a state trooper or a FBI agent.
Gotcha.
And I had a neighbor that said, "Hey, you should join the military police corps and the Army, and it'll give you a huge step up."
Yeah.
So I did, and I took a leave of absence for a year, and started as an E1, 18-year-old kid. Came back, did my 4 years in the Guard while I was going to UMass, and then I got commissioned and took a different path. And then ironically, how I went SF was I was trying to go to Ranger School, and my company commander wouldn't let me go because we had a NTC rotation.
Yeah.
And
that's National Training Center.
So it's like pre-war, it's the big test for commanders, right? Mm-hmm. It's their big test. So I just crossed out Ranger on my physical. I put SF, and that was history.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Very cool. You mentioned you want to be an FBI agent. So Kash Patel was just recently, he was saying, hey, the applications to become an FBI agent has at least doubled since the Trump administration has come on. That's pretty interesting. So, okay, so you're married.
Yep.
Got kids?
I do. So my wife actually is an Air Force Academy graduate.
Okay.
So we met here in Colorado. My son was born here, and he's 17 now. In fact, he just did a flight over my house because he's taking flight lessons at the Air Force Academy.
Oh, cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Right on, right on. Okay. And then grandkids?
No, God, no.
Not yet?
One son, 17.
Not yet?
No, we have a long time. Long time.
I work over at Sock North, and my boss has like 8 grandchildren.
Yeah.
It's pretty
It's quite a
ridiculous.
bit.
Yeah, a lot of grandchildren. All right, okay, so let's talk about Rev Health real quick. So I'm going to go to the Rev Health website. It is revth.co. Now, you can go in there and check it out. It's not completely live. Is that fair to
Next
say?
week we're launching. We're going live with a soft launch, and then we'll on ramp additional patients as capable. But
Okay.
next week the light switch will be turned on. So,
Okay,
yeah.
right on. So there we go. You can go in there and check it out and kind of read about it a little bit. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to talk about this stuff. And I had a question for Kris offline, which we kind of covered a little bit. I'm going to let him talk about it. Okay, so can you speak on what compounded medications are?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not
Absolutely. So compounded medications, another term is generic, right? An
Okay.
example is everybody knows Ozempic, Wegovy, first particular
Okay.
phrases, or Viagra.
Yep.
Right. The compounded version, the raw core materials of that is semaglutide, tirzepatide, and tadalafil, respectively.
Okay.
Right. So it's basically after a certain amount of time, compounding pharmacies can make off-brand products off the main brand name products. So the big ones are like for weight loss is tirzepatide and semaglutide.
Okay.
So that is what a compounded product. It's the generic version, and it's much less expensive than the brand name version, but it's the same stuff.
Understood. Okay, got it. So that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. I knew what generic was, but not compounded. So, okay. So if you go down his website here, we're gonna look at some weight loss stuff. So let's talk about the weight loss stuff that you guys can provide. So this is telehealth, obviously. So what's the process for, let's say, a veteran, a first responder? Let's say they want to lose weight. Like, what's that process like?
Well, I'll talk about everything in kind of general terms. So
Yeah.
the way it works is we are launching with really 2 core therapies with mental health close behind. So our primary focus are weight loss, hormone replacement, and mental health.
Okay.
So weight loss specifically, GLP-1 opportunities. So your Ozempics, your Wegovys, or Zepbound and Wegovy, the 2 specific. Brand name products that we support. We also support some compounded opportunities,
Okay.
like drops and tablets that work in a unique way, and you can check the website. But basically, it's for weight loss. It also has many other applications as well. That as the industry continues to develop, they're finding new potential opportunities for that particular medication. So it's very interesting. And then for hormones, which is a huge problem, particularly in the special operations community.
Yeah,
the veterans
testosterone,
community,
yeah.
Testosterone, yeah. So, and it's difficult to get that, right, with current support systems that are in place.
Now that you kind of switched on me. So that's the HRT, right?
That's the HRT.
Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I can talk about the process, how it all integrates together.
Okay,
as well.
gotcha.
So at
Okay.
the end of that, so we have GLP weight loss opportunities, right? We have hormone replacement opportunities, and specifically testosterone and clomiphene. Two similar results, very different.
What was the word you just said?
Clomiphene.
Yeah. Can you explain that?
Sure. So testosterone we offer injectables and cream.
Okay.
Right, and clomiphene, and that increases your testosterone. Let's think of it as like a testosterone supplement.
Okay.
Right, it's literally putting testosterone into your body. And clomiphene, generally speaking, in a very layman's non-medical explanation, is it tells your body to create more.
Okay.
Right, but it has different side effects. It has different ways it acts on your body. So it's 2 different options, and depending on the patient's consult with their doctor, will determine what individualized therapy best suits them.
Okay.
So that's the differences between the 2 are significant. They're completely different, but they both increase your testosterone.
Okay.
Right? So in our community, that's a huge issue, especially special operators have a tremendously low testosterone level en masse.
Really?
And Yeah, and if you don't, maybe some down in the 100s, like it's significant. So if you're tired, if you're if you're having issues performing sexually or gaining a ton of weight, all these things could be hormone imbalances that we could help bring back on board.
Okay.
And that is all determined by an individual consultation with a provider that will look at your records, look at your blood tests, talk to you about your lifestyle, and then determine what best suits you to get you back on track and get you healthy again.
Right. That could be you need to go to the gym more, or there could be a bunch of different things, right? Not just medications.
It could be. Well, that's a great point. We can talk about that later too. But at this point, it's a physical issue that would need treatment.
Okay.
Right. So you will get a blood. So the first step in the TRT or the HRT, your hormone replacement process or journey, is lab work. Okay. So you will go to a lab. You will get blood drawn. And then it will determine if you are indeed, deficient in these certain areas, and then what is the best way to fix that. Okay. Because, I don't want to talk too much medicine here because I'm not a medical provider. My doctors are, but they're not here.
I'm not a medical professional.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, and that's what I'm doing. So, but generally speaking, in non-clinical terms, that's how that works. So, by the time you're meeting with a provider, it's they have the data. Like the data from your labs, and they know what they're doing to determine it's not going to the gym. You will never be able to produce it, theoretically, again, to the levels that would bring you back up to a healthy lifestyle.
Interesting. Yeah. So I remember when I was a weapons sergeant instructor, we had another instructor who was taking the topical cream for testosterone. And I know he needed it, but he was going to the gym all the time too. And obviously, there is some kind of an issue within the veteran community. I mean, everybody knows what 22 a day is. Yeah. So, but this is kind of the perfect place to launch it, I guess, because you got 10th Special Forces Group down the road, and then Sauk North is here too. I guess the other place would be obviously North Carolina. Yeah, that'd be a good place to.
So we're national, like all 50 states.
Okay.
In fact, Zach, my SEAL buddy partner, is down in San Diego right now. Yeah. Shannon, my marketing chief marketing officer, is in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. I got folks in North Carolina. I got folks in Florida. So the team is all over the place.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Let's move on to the mental health, like we were just talking about. So we talked about it, the weight loss, the HRT supplements. Is that fair to say? Therapy. Yeah. Can you tell me the difference? I don't know. Did I miss it? Can you tell me the difference between? One second. Let me get up to it here. TRT and HRT. Did we talk about that? I don't
remember if we talked about it here or before, but
okay.
I think we did.
Yeah.
But basically, the bottom line is, we did. They achieved the same end state, which is to increase your testosterone, get you healthy again, get you feeling good, but through different means. They work differently on the body. And I will say, the way it works for those two particular therapies is very simple. You go to the website, you log in, you create an account, you select the therapy that interests you.
There you go.
Right, and then the entire process is automated. You'll do a pre-questionnaire for medical, because there's conditions that you are not going to be able to get these medications. Mm-hmm. You have to meet a certain BMI for weight loss. You can't have heart disease or liver issues for testosterone or severe sleep apnea. Right? So there's pre-qualifying things that won't even let you progress if you don't meet the general baseline criteria. Mm-hmm. Then you go through the checkout process, and it's all automated. Then the next step is the intake questionnaire, and that's the elaborate 30-question medical history of you and what medications you're on. Do you have issues with this? Blah 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 blah. And then it's submitted to the doctors who review it. And then they call you and set up an appointment, whether it be video or phone call, and say, let's talk about your thing. All right, well, looks like your testosterone is extremely low, X, Y, and Z. What are your goals? What's your family history? Yeah. And then they'll determine this is the best way to proceed. And then, boom, they cut you a prescription. The prescription goes to the pharmacy. It gets shipped to you directly. And it's anonymous. You don't have to go to a facility. You don't have to wait. It happens in days. Oh, man. It's very affordable. Yeah. Do it from your house, your office, your garage. Right, get all the therapies that you need. Easy day. No having to drive 2 hours to a facility or wait for 2 months for your lab work to come back or get a consult. You can have it done immediately.
Gotcha.
So it's a really good deal. Really good
it sounds pretty cool. It sounds pretty interesting. I imagine, are you guys going to work with VA at all, or how's that?
Ultimately, our long-term goal is yes, we would love to integrate with the VA. It's quite a muscle move, but we are definitely building that as kind of a phase 2 alpha strategy is VA integration, where we could be an authorized TRICARE provider, we could be in the network, we could take mental health, we could take medical, but all that is definitely on the agenda.
That's coming up. That's coming up.
And insurance, because this is all cash pay.
Gotcha.
As well. So,
Okay.
Yep. So insurance is not a factor at this point, and maybe in the future. For right now, it's just cash pay.
Okay, gotcha.
So you can go in, you swipe your credit card, you talk to the doctor, you get your medication. It's at a black and white level. It's that simple.
Okay, so veteran, first responder, whatever, they're like, okay, they check out your website. They're like, hey, I think I have low T, let's say, and then they fill out all the questionnaires, forms, so on and so forth. They come up with a plan. They agree to the plan. They pay their fee out of pocket, and then the plan is started
in place. And it's a subscription, because most of these therapies are long-term, multi-month plus therapies.
Gotcha.
So it's a subscription, and every month it shows up. You'll meet with the doctor. He'll say, here's the plan for 6 months.
Yep.
Right, and you just sit back and relax, and then at the 30-day mark, your medication shows up again.
Okay.
Right, and then you'll have to follow up with the doctor, and all this stuff's baked into the system at like the 3-6 month mark.
Okay.
But it's all automated, and it's very hands off.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds
very
pretty
simple.
easy.
Yes, about mental health.
Yeah. So now we're going to go into the mental health, and this is where we're going to kind of merge the two kind of ideas here, because mental health is a big issue, and it's a big issue not only in the veteran community but also outside of the veteran community. When I say veterans, I mean first responders, police, firemen, so on and so forth. Not just the SOF, or Special Operations Forces, or military personnel, but outside of that, there's still a huge mental health issue. And then obviously that's been spoken about within the gun community, and my company, A Coach, is all about firearms training and self-defense training, and I'm also a huge Second Amendment advocate. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. All right, mental health.
Mental health.
This is a big one. This is huge, right? Because everybody has their different takes on what mental health is, right? It's such a subjective, just the term mental health is so subjective. You have highly educated persons that have their doctorates, and they've studied this stuff, and they have their view of what mental health is. And then you have somebody like me, where I'm just a ground pounder, and then I typically go, okay, what's suck it up, buttercup kind of thing, instead of actually addressing the issue. So what are your thoughts on the mental health within the veteran community?
Yeah, it's a real issue. I mean, it's obviously a real issue, and that stigma that's been around for decades is still around.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, we've been trying to get rid of it as a commander. As a 20-year, 25-year military veteran, 18 of that in special operations. Yeah. Like, I get it, our SEAL captain, right? 25 years as a SEAL, right? He gets it. We have 100+ years of military service on our team right now, I think. And we have 20-something years of mental health specific experience with our medical health leadership team, our mental health leadership team. And I can say that it is a real deal. So what we are creating is a comprehensive mental health program for our community, right? And it entails a lot of things. The first is anonymity, right? So when I look at it from a personal and professional perspective, anonymity is a big thing, right? If you're going on post to get mental health services, you're walking into the building, right? Like, do you want to walk in the building? Yeah. Right? That's like pause point number one.
Well, not to mention, you're giving your ID at the front gate.
They know where you're going.
You're going in there, then you go into the building, right? So on and so forth. Yeah.
Right. So building 6 is the mental health building. So you're going in. Just that, it causes some people to pause, right? So, and telehealth is the wave of the future, because everything is becoming automated now. You're seeing wearables that are insane with providing health data. Yeah. It's the wave of the future. It's coming, right? Yeah. So what we're trying to build is, how do we support our folks via telehealth, right? And there's a lot of tools out there already. So what we're doing is we are creating a comprehensive mental health program that starts with, like, for example, Calm Health, right? Calm Health is a higher level than your COM app store, right? It's designed, and they have a veteran mental health program and all of that. That incorporated with our BetterHelp. BetterHelp is actual providers, right? We are kind of gelling a unified program here where a veteran can jump on and go in the lowest level of engagement, 5-minute meditation session. Here's how you sleep better, right? Breathing exercises, all the way up and scalable to seeing a licensed provider, right? 4 times a month, where he's your guy or your girl, and you're talking to them, getting mental health services remotely from your office, from your gym, wherever you want. Right. Off tracking, off the books, completely anonymous, and you're getting the help that you need.
Okay.
And everything in between. And it's scalable. So the system is designed to, maybe you need to do this, maybe you need to do this, to a point where you need to talk to an actual person. Right.
Okay.
What we are not, disclaimer, is a emergency mental health network.
Okay.
Right. So it is not, and it's on our website. Call the crisis line. Call 911. Like, we are not designed right now for reactionary, immediate, quick reaction mental health support.
So, as a veteran myself, and then as a Second Amendment advocate, I've always been kind of on the fence about talking about mental health, because I don't want some state legislator saying, well, you've seen, this person or whatever to rectify the problem that you've identified, let's say. Now we're going to strip you of your Second Amendment rights, right? So I know there's some legalities there when it comes to doctors having to report certain things. I don't know exactly what all those are, but that is a big concern for a lot of veterans. A lot of veterans are they own guns, they use their firearms, and it's for self-protection. But then there's also some of those veterans out there that have had mental health issues in the past, and they've had standoffs with cops, and it's been horrible in that aspect. So I guess the question is, what kind of protections are there for those veterans and first responders? We're talking about close holding that information, but what kind of legalities would bring that information to bear that would potentially be negative on their Second Amendment right?
Right. So, the caveat that I'm not a mental health licensed professional, I'm not a lawyer. From layman's perspective, from a management perspective, that information is very, very close. It's HIPAA information. Right. It is very close hold information. So, in the absence of a warrant for a criminal case, right, or a change in law, which is a massive, hey, we're going to start digging into your mental health, and that would be a disaster. Politically for anybody. I can't, the information itself is close. It's not to be released. It's very close hold. Now, normal mental health practices there's 2 caveats to that: immediate danger to themselves or others. So suicidal or homicidal.
Gotcha.
Right, and that's everywhere. That's a standard practice.
That's a standard thing.
Outside of that, get the help that you need. Talk to somebody. Feel it out. It works. I mean, it's just a matter of getting people in front of the right tools, and you'll get the benefits from it. And it's going to help your mental state, and there'll be less standoffs. It's going to help you be happier. It will. Right. You just got to do it. And it's getting past the stigma. It's getting past the concern of, is somebody going to know about this? No one's going to know about it, because it's completely confidential, and you're doing it from your office, and you're just talking to somebody, and you're getting a huge benefit from this.
Perfect.
Right.
That's okay. That all makes sense. What's your, for the mental health thing, when it comes to people trying to, we talked about this, my wife and I talked about this. We get new shooters, and they're just so amped up on Mountain Dew, so to speak, right? Because they don't know what to expect. They're so in it, it's going to be so scary. So what would you say to anybody who's trying to get into self-defense with a firearm realm when it comes to changing their mentality, if that makes sense?
I think mental health has a role for every American. For real. Because everybody has something to gain from it. Everybody has a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of angst, sleeps poorly. Occasionally, if not all the time. Right. All these factors can be addressed from physical and from mental health, you know, and there's a lot of things you mentioned, you know, gym
Yep,
and
going to the
diet
gym.
and all
Yep.
this stuff. So as we progress, all of this is going to fit into our comprehensive plan. We just, you know, we're a small team,
Yep.
right? We're starting with what we can and then adding in therapies, adding in functionality, adding in nutraceuticals and supplements and gym integrations and all of this, because all of that is important, right? It's not all about just using a medicine to fix the problem, right? It's a comprehensive. So we're building a community that is not just come buy your medicine and go home. Right, that's not what we're trying to do. And if you look at our website, you can kind of see what we're trying to build here is, you know, we are you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we know because we are you. We struggle with the same stuff.
Yep.
So that's what we're trying to build, and we will get there rapidly, I believe. Right. But as far as the mental health piece, it is so huge. It's astronomical, and it's not just special operators. It's not just veterans. It's not just their families. It's high school kids. You know what I mean? It's a huge population that need to start taking advantage of these services for the betterment of their everyday life.
No, that's true. Especially, I don't know the statistics offhand, but I know that there was some mental health things when the whole COVID thing came on.
Oh yeah.
They were like, hey, you can't go to school anymore.
Yep.
You know, don't touch, you know, whatever. You know, it's just yeah. So I got my grievances with that whole time period.
Yep.
You got anything else you want to talk about? I think we came to the end of our agenda.
That was great. I just, you know, go to the website if you're interested in mental health services or medical, you know, medical opportunities that we offer now. In the pipeline coming up shortly after we launch will be sexual function. It'll be athletic performance. It'll be sleep. It'll be hair and skin. Right. We'll integrate all these different opportunities to really, really flesh out the particular issues that our community really suffers with. And then mental health, when we launch, time to be determined, but probably in the next month or so, we'll start doing mental health. And mental health doesn't have to be seeing a licensed provider. It could literally be jumping on our program, getting an app, getting a meditation session, you know, and starting baby steps. And then self-identifying, and the system will help you identify what level of care will best support you, and then follow that pipeline.
You know, that's a good point. Like anything, just like anything that's intimidating, let's say, as long as you just start. And you know, getting that might be the hardest part, is actually starting and then probably going from there. So
for sure.
Revolutionary Telehealth. The CEO is Kris. I'm not even going to try to butcher her last name.
Barriteau.
So Kris Barriteau, thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So the website again is RevTH. That's REVTH.co. It's down in the description box. You guys go check them out. Also, if you have anything in the community here that you want to talk about, go ahead and comment below. Let me know what you want to talk about. If you have anybody who wants to get on the show, also send them our information. We'd love to have them. We're going to talk about anything within the community. It doesn't have to be firearms, doesn't have to be mental health, doesn't have to be anything of that nature. We can talk about anything and everything here in the Colorado Springs community. We'll see you later. Tack out.